Hi there, and welcome to Jet Program Guide, and thanks for stopping by. My name is Sam, and today I'm going to tell you about the 5 pros and cons about being a Jet on the Jet program. And there's 5 pros and 5 cons of being a Jet. So the first pro is the support network. As a Jet, you have Claire behind you have your BOE, you have so many alumni associations, you have the locals in your area. Big support network on Jet. So you always have help when you need it and to be able to do stuff. And for me, when I was in Kumamoto, there was the Kumamoto Jet Association. They did planning of events, people volunteered, and we always elected 2 officers to take care of, and they handled planning and doing events. It was all volunteer. In like Kumamoto, we had a big support group, and then we also had a big chapter as well within the whole Kyushu area. Everywhere else in Japan also had its own representatives and local support groups. So that was a nice thing about Jet that you won't get with private teaching. You won't get that big support group of people within Japan, and after you leave Japan, there's a lot of alumni associations around. Second pro is salary. One of the biggest pros to being a Jet over being private ALT is you're guaranteed a good salary. You know what your salary is when you're applying. It's stated online. No matter where you are in Japan, that's what your salary starts at. It goes up every year, and that's what your salary will end with. From your 3rd, 4th, and 5th year, your salary will go up to 3.9 million yen. When you're hitting that 3.9 million, it's a lot. So you're jumping after a year. After about 2 years, you're jumping up 1.2 million yen, about $10,000, $12,000, depending on the currency rate. But it is a lot, and it goes a long way towards savings. Another benefit to being a Jet is all the benefits. So those benefits I'm going to talk about is health insurance and just air insurances. As a Jet, you probably get like 4 or 5 different insurance plans just through your BOE, you get national health care, you get your regular insurances. You're well taken care of. You get a deductible of like $50, 5,000 yen. So if you need to visit a hospital and anything over that, they'll take care of. You get a bunch of work insurance while on the job. So if anything happens, you're also covered by that, and you're also covered by other stuff by your BOE. So there's many benefits as far as that goes. And your pension, you'll have a nice pension when you come off a Jet. About, depending on how long you stay, you might have $3,000 or $4,000 up to like $10,000, because now you can claim your whole 5 years of pension. There are some really good pros that you will get out of Jet as far as those benefits goes. For me, getting that big lump sum of pension back that I paid into was really nice for when I get back to the States. Another thing about Jet is its reputation. Jets have a good reputation. They go through a lot to get selected. Becoming a Jet takes about a year, the whole process, and it's hard to become a Jet. But once you are a Jet, you do have that reputation behind you. And you also should back up your reputation too as being like the best ambassador and person you can be while you're in Japan. And finally, you're well taken care of. That's kind of a combination of everything. You have the Alumni Association, you have your BOE to take care of you, you have orientation, you have training, your BOE will take you to do your housing. You might even get to take over a previous Jet's place, so you don't have to go look for any housing. You always have somebody watching after you if you need help. There's a big support group. That's one of the best things about being a Jet, is that you're always taken care of behind the scenes more than you would ever think you would be. Next is cons. One of the cons with Jet is you don't get to pick your area. I picked like everywhere's but Kumamoto. I have no idea what Kumamoto was, and I got stuck in Kumamoto. But Kumamoto ended up being like the most fantastic place in the world, and I would never have changed. But some people get stuck on an island and they don't like it, and that's just kind of how Jet is. Or you get really stuck in a very rural area of Japan, and it's because they have the Jet program there, so take in Jets. So you could literally be put anywhere in Japan, and it's not a horrible thing. You can really have a grassroots kind of internationalization, that you might be the only person in your town, or you might be one of like 3 Jets in your town, and you'll have just like 1 or 2 schools you go to, and you'll know everyone in the community. So there's some really positive things that kind of go behind that, but you just don't get to really pick. You get to pick on there, and you might get lucky and you might not. It's kind of like 50-50, but usually it's more like 30-70. Another con to Jet, a weird one, but I would say the pandemic has kind of put a spin on things. 2020 Jets never got to leave, and that's kind of more about governments not being able to send people in and out. But as Jet wants to send everybody as a giant group, it's kind of difficult in a pandemic, and it's just delayed some Jets from going for a long time. And people who got job offers got to go ahead and be on their way to Japan even during the pandemic. So I think that's one thing. And then 2021 Jets, hopefully they'll be fine. with the 2020 departures too, there's cause for concern with Delta and just more jets being delayed. So that's one con, unfortunately. Won't get to pick your school type. You kind of do when you put in an application, but you might get stuck in something totally different. I kind of wanted to be in elementary schools because I thought they were really fun, but I got primarily stuck in junior high school. But it ended up working out because I did have some elementary schools. Elementary, junior high school, or high school. With JET, you might get high school, but you really don't want high school. You want elementary school, or you get junior high school and you really want high school. So with JET, you have to deal with that. You could be put in any situation for schooling. You could have one school, you could have like 10 schools that are all elementary school. You could have 2 high schools. So it's really random what you get. It is a 5-year length of stay or less. So that all depends on your BOE, of course. Some people only get to stay 1 year. Some people get to stay 2, 3, 4, or 5. I was lucky. I could stay up to 5 years with my BOE, but I only stayed 4 years. Other people only get to stay 3 years with their BOE because they have lots of requirements for 4th and 5th year. They may want them to be able to speak like N2 level Japanese, which is kind of absurd, or they have other strict requirements, or they just don't recontract after 3 years. They just want new people. So that's what happens with JET, is like recontracting is up to the BOEs. So you're guaranteed 1 year by going on the program, and you're guaranteed a 3-year visa, but you're not guaranteed that you'll get to stay that long in the area you request, or the area you were placed in. The thing about JET is you lose track of reality. Unfortunately, kind of like going to college without classes, and it's all paid for. You get to have a lot of fun on JET. You get to do a lot of stuff you wouldn't normally get to do in Japan, to travel around, to meet with locals, to get really close with people. But that all ends after your contract ends. And if you don't realize what you want to do after JET, well, you're kind of screwed. And the only thing you'll have to take with you is your pension. So there's a lot of JETs who they lose track of that they are in Japan. They spend all their money. They don't leave Japan without any savings, or find another job after JET, but it's not really good. So that's a big thing about Japan, is you won't get much out of it if you don't put much into it. If you aren't putting in the work and time into other stuff like finding other jobs, bringing up your Japanese skills, finding a college you want to go to, finding a good job afterwards, you're kind of going to get screwed after JET. And that just happens to a lot of ALTs. But there are support networks, and they too try to encourage you to go to the JET Alumni Career Fair. You can learn a lot there. I found my graduate school going to it. I found a lot of stuff going to the career fair, and that's one way that helps. But the best thing that helps is to prepare yourself before that career fair. Prepare yourself to learn Japanese and other skills and to save your money. So if you stay in Japan or you don't stay in Japan, that you'll be supported when you finish up. That's it. That's my 5 pros and my 5 cons to being on a JET. Take them as you will. As an experienced JET and someone who graduated and went on to graduate school, I got a good experience working hard to figure out what I wanted to do after JET and where I wanted to be. And I'm still working towards that to this day, and that's just how it is. Thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and see ya.